Hey, John. Can we unmute, please? Can we just take care of a little housekeeping?
Yeah.
So I'm having people show up on from the committee or commission who are showing up as attendees. Shouldn't be that way if you're using the link in the email. If you go on through the town website, it's going to make you an attendee, not a panelist. So we got to do some switching around. So just make sure that you use the link that was emailed to you.
Who's showing up as an attendee?
I just switched Catherine over.
Yeah, I realized what I did. I signed out and signed back in, but I guess you fixed it.
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
And somebody else showed up as an attendee. I had to move. Oh, well, Mary, I do have some other attendees that I guess Chuck may tell me if they're going to need to, Mr. Salzbeck is on, and Bill Nash, who may have something to do with this.
Yeah, Maria, this is Chuck. Yes,
Yeah.
Michael Salzback was actually going to start the whole thing off. But
Okay, so I'll allow him to talk and just let me know
Yes.
who you need to
Yep.
have speaking privileges.
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Maria, did you hear from Ned at all?
After we said the meeting
Yeah.
was tonight on Zoom, I think I got a, let me see if I got a reply.
I saw his reply,
you.
John.
Said thank you. Yep. So,
Okay, good, thanks.
Okay.
So we'll give him a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
Who else, Maria? I zipped out of the office pretty quick today, so
yeah, you did duck out.
I did. So I don't have who the attendees. I'm not sure who they're.
Rich, Bill, Jen, Ned, and Dennis were the ones who said yes. Jason said later on this afternoon, he said yes, he was
Yeah,
coming.
good. Okay, so we got Rich and Ned that we're waiting for.
Right.
Okay. Wait a couple of minutes and then we'll have to, we've got a quorum, right? But we don't have, we won't have 5. Oh, yes, we will.
You do.
Yep.
Hey, John, did we appoint a vice chair after a new vice chair?
We don't have a vice chair.
Right, we did, and then we never appointed a new one.
Well,
right?
we don't really have one based on the CBA regulation. What we do is if the chair doesn't show up, then the committee decides who they want to have as the chair for this particular meeting. I mean, typically it's somebody with, a regular member, somebody who has got some experience, someone who's probably been on there, the longest or close to being the longest. So, yeah, I think that's how you would do it. But we don't have, we're not going to elect a vice chair.
How do you start the meeting if you don't have a chair to discuss that?
Dennis, you didn't listen to me. I said that we don't have.
I did.
Chair. We don't have a vice chair.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the committee is going to appoint someone if the chair doesn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't see.
I'm sorry. I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm kind of it kind of was meant in fun. So, because you can't have the decision until you have start the meeting. You start the meeting after you have a chair. I was being funny. Sorry.
We have 5 members. I would suggest you guys, decide who you want to have chair this, and let's get started. And then we can see them as we come. Be sure, I don't have the chart in front of me as to who's an alternate and who's a regular. I kind of know, but I know Rich isn't here and Ned's here, so we're going to sit the 2 alternates for Ned and Rich at this point.
Mhm. So I'd like to suggest then that, Jason, have you been on the longest?
I think Bill's probably been on the longest.
Bill?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think Bill's been on longer than me,
Okay. So
but I'll do it.
I'd like to suggest Bill take over as chair.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right.
Favor?
Anybody else
moving.
suggestions? Okay. All in favor? Aye, All right.
Hi.
Aye.
We have a
Thanks.
Bill, your chair.
consensus. We call
Thanks,
it a
guys.
consensus.
All right, so this is my second time in doing this, so obviously bear with me here. I'd like to call to order the August 10th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I would like to introduce the board members. We have Dennis Crow, Catherine Ferrante, Jason Brown, myself, acting as chair, Bill Piggott. Is there anybody else who I missed?
Jennifer.
And Jennifer. I'm sorry, Jennifer. I didn't see your picture on the screen here. Okay, I've introduced the board. Say again. Okay, 4 votes are needed for an application to be approved in accordance with state statutes, and a simple majority is not sufficient. The clerk will read the call of the meeting as advertised in the publication. After the application has been read, anyone who wishes to withdraw or postpone his or her application is free to do so. If there is no one who wishes to withdraw or postpone, we will then forward with the applications in order in which they have been advertised. The clerk will call the application, at which time the applicant or his or her representative will come forward and state his or her name and address for the record and the nature and reason for the appeal. The applicant representative should stand where he or she can be seen, and all displays can be seen by both the board and the audience. Any and all items, plans, or pictures shown to the board are considered exhibits, and all exhibits must be left with the file. After the presentation is made by the applicant, we will entertain questions from members of the board and then certain questions from the audience. We will also, after that discussion has taken place, accept presentations or statements either in favor of or in opposition to the particular application. Please be sure to state your name and address the first time you speak, and your name any subsequent time you speak. When your application has been heard, we will close the public hearing portion of the application, and the board will go into their deliberations with the seated members. Excuse me. You are free to stay here, but as tempting as it might be, you should not make any further comments. Even if you think of something you should have said or wish you had said, but that would be taken as testimony. And according to statute, we are not permitted to take testimony after the close of the public hearing portion. In most instances, we will make our decision immediately after each hearing. You may stay to hear the result or call the land use office in the morning. You will also be notified by mail, and all decisions are published. I will now call on our clerk, Marlene Kennedy, to now read the appeals to be presented. Marlene?
Bill, but before Marlene reads that, would you, just for the record, just, place Jen and Catherine for the two regular members who are not here? However you want to do it, Jennifer for Rich and Catherine.
Sorry about that. I was
but
having Zoom
You should probably
problems.
do that. You should probably do that. So
Rich is here.
oh, he is?
Yes, he just showed up.
Can you
Okay.
guys hear me?
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah, sorry. My Zoom is just not
Okay,
behaving.
So we just have Ned.
right. So Ned is not present.
Right, so either Jennifer or Catherine, who, I would suggest that whoever was put up last, if Jennifer was put in a position as a member of the board because someone wasn't there, then Catherine would do it now. If Catherine did it last, then you'd alternate, so Jennifer should probably do it, or Catherine, whoever. Can't remember if Jennifer or Catherine.
I was here at the last meeting and served as an alternate. So I guess it would, if we're alternating voting capacity, I guess it would be Catherine's turn this time.
Did you serve as a regular at that meeting?
I did, yes.
Okay, so then Catherine would be seated for Ned. Thank you, Jennifer.
Sure.
Okay, so we're seating Catherine now as a regular member on the board. Okay. Okay, can we proceed with Marlene?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, Zoning Board of Appeals, regular meeting, August 10th, 2021. By Zoom. And applications 8247 plus CSP 132 Kelsey Place, map 14, lot 4, R4 district. Owners applicants Brian and Mary Miller request to vary Madison zoning regulations, section 2.17 to permit 24.6 feet where 50 feet is required to a critical coastal resource for the demolition and reconstruction of a FEMA compliant single family home. Discussion regarding board meeting platform for the remainder of 2021. Approval of minutes, July 13, 2021, regular meeting, and adjournment. Okay, so 8247 plus CSP 132 Kelsey Place.
Yes, good evening. I'm Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicants. Actually, Michael, are you,
I think I'm here. I just don't know.
okay, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
I don't know what more to do to make that happen, even though it might be disappointing for you anyway.
Well, go ahead and lead off, Michael.
Let me do that, and they can look at you, Chuck.
Okay. Okay.
This may be, and we're hoping that's our goal, to be one of the most efficient meetings that you have ever had. The legal notice you just heard almost said it all. It has to do with section 217, which is the setback of a building from a critical coastal. 417, did I miss say the number? 217.
217.
Yeah, 217, right.
That's what I think, John. But anyway, it does have to do with the setback from a critical coastal resource.
We lost you.
Are you still talking?
Yeah.
No,
Now
you
I see
you cut out after the critical coastal resource.
Says it's now streaming live on YouTube. You can't hear me.
Yes, we can.
We can
Oh.
hear you.
Okay, let me just keep going, because seeing me is less important than the rest.
Just a second. If you move your mouse over to the bottom left of your screen, do you see a video icon?
Share screen, I got that.
Way over to the
Start
left.
video, how about that?
That would do it.
There you go.
There's your smiling face from the nose up.
Let me see if I can't get something better.
There you go. We got you now.
We got you.
Okay. There we go.
Oh, Dennis. Oh, Dennis.
He's alive. He's
There
alive.
we go. See, an actual person with that voice, same person. Anyway, we're back to the setback from the critical coastal resource. And what the applicants are doing is taking down an old non-conforming building. It's not FEMA conforming. It's got any number of other problems as a coastal item. And it also, at the moment, is 24.9 feet from the critical coastal resource. Otherwise, in terms of zoning setbacks, it's compliant. The applicants are proposing a new building that is compliant in virtually all in all respects but one, actually. In fact, it's also FEMA compliant, which the existing one isn't. And it is further from the critical coastal resource, being 30.5 feet as opposed to the 50 that's required. That's the only variance they need to create a fully compliant building in this location. So that, as Chuck can tell you in greater detail if you care, all of the other issues that affect a building of this sort have been dealt with and or approved, whether it's septic, drainage, all of those things. So it's in all respects a vast improvement over what's there in terms of its environment, and in particular with regard to the regulations that we're seeking to have varied. It's an improvement over what is there. That, as you know from other discussions you've had, is sufficient to overcome any requirement of hardship. And you go from there to, is this appropriate and reasonable? It's not only appropriate and reasonable, it's a vast improvement over what is there now, particularly on the FEMA side of things, as well as the setback. So all in all, they're not asking to do anything that's not better than what presently exists. And so it's that simple. It's a new building, compliant building, compliant in all other zoning respects. We ask nothing of you but to let us build it a little bit closer than we would like to the critical coastal resource, but we can't get it any closer. It's not an accident that the original building is 24.9 feet from the critical coastal resource. And that's really it in a nutshell. We have photos, they're drawings galore, all of those things if you want to see them. But I think that those very facts together, give you a very, very sound basis, if not more of a requirement that this variance application be approved. If I can tell you any more, happy to do it and provide you any further information that you would like.
Is anybody going to walk through the application papers?
Chuck can do that, I think, or either one. I mean, it's.
Yeah, well, I'll Chuck Mandel here. Yeah, so we did get, we had an earlier application. This plan is actually a slight revision from what the DEP has seen. We actually made it further away from the coastal critical resource, and DEP had no comments. They actually were in favor of the project. We are mitigating stormwater We do have a code complying septic system. We do have a letter I gave to John and Maria for an exhibit tonight also. And we had the town engineer look at the drainage, but he said if Deep was happy with it, he has no jurisdiction over single-family residents. That's really all the other additional evidence that we provided, exhibits. And as Michael did say, we are totally FEMA compliant.
Mhm.
Which the existing building is not.
Correct.
In virtually all respects.
Okay. So you've got
Can
a
I-
number of papers on the site, including some photographs of the existing building and so on. Would you like to walk through those? And
Look, I think you offered those if you want to do that. I think there are 3 photos of the existing building. The point is, it's not going to exist anymore, and it's not FEMA
Yeah.
compliant. And it is
Right.
too close to the closer,
yeah,
and too close to the critical coastal resource.
Yeah. yeah, but it shows a good reason why. I mean, so you want to walk through the plans and elevations on the new proposal?
Maria, can you put that up on the screen, the site plan, if you want, if you could?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just had a question. So, I'm sorry, what's the current setback and what is being requested?
The current setback from the critical coastal resource is 24.9, and we're proposing 30.5. About 5 feet further away from the critical coastal resource.
Rich, if you remember the email that John sent to us, he said it had or maybe Maria sent it, but anyhow, it had the comments that said because they changed it from 24.6, I think, back to 30.5, they didn't have to reapply, even though the application did say 24.6, but now it's going to be 30.5. So I think is that what you were getting towards?
Okay, so it's going, I'm sorry, I'm just,
If you zoom in on the house area, Maria, that might be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah.
So the red was the existing house, and the purple is the proposed.
Okay. Is that the proposed current plan or the proposed original plan?
This is the proposed current plan. This is what we are proposing tonight to get approved.
purple.
Okay. You're confusing me because this looks, is Shorelands what you're moving
Well,
away from?
yeah, so when we have to identify critical coastal resources, DEP calls Shorelands is one of the critical coastal resources.
Okay, so you're telling me you're moving farther away from the shoreland, that Shorelands, is that? am I
No,
correct?
we're currently on the Shorelands, and we're going to stay on the Shorelands. If you look,
Okay, so that's the whole area. All right,
correct.
okay.
Shorelands is really all the upland outside the tidal marsh, and you can see the tidal marsh is located with those
Okay.
little blue T's. We
Got
had those
it.
flagged by
Okay.
a soil scientist.
Got it. Okay, so the red and purple squares at the top left corner of the building, you have the two buildings, top left, those two, yes.
Correct. The red was
That's-
existing, and the purple is proposed.
Okay, all right,
So can you show us?
now I'm
please,
following you.
Where's
All
the
right,
where's the reduction from the coastal resource? I'm not seeing it.
So that it's right. So the red is the existing, and the other one, the purple is proposed.
but I thought you had said that it would be 30.5.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. You know, that might have been from the old label on there. So I think that labeling did get changed. In either event, it is further away. I'm wondering. Oh, actually, Maria has the old plan up there. I'm sorry, that's my mistake. If that,
Okay, so
the,
this
the,
is,
revi- the revision date on the plan should be 7/20/21. If you look at that revision, Maria, it's the bottom right corner. Yeah, so we have submitted another plan with another revision date
okay,
of 7/20/21, and I have that plan sitting right next to me, and it clearly shows the 30.5 on there. So that's I don't know if Maria has the second plan up there.
elevations. It's not posted on.
Oh,
the
we're gonna take a
website.
peek. Hold on, I'll get it.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't see it
Yeah.
posted on the website.
Where is the date located on the document?
the bottom right of there it shows the date of the plan, and then it shows several revisions after that. There are actually 3 revisions on the current plan.
Okay, it is on the website. It's the one where it says the size is 1,000. If you look at the kilobytes, that's the easiest way to find it. It turns out that way. But it's there.
You have the current plan, Dennis?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, the current plans in the document center that came
yeah,
through with our
it's in
agenda.
there.
Okay. Yeah, so if you look at the bottom right, it's the 7/20/21 revision date. And that shows the 30.5.
Okay,
The plans are substantially the same, so that's why I was a little.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's the
Okay.
current plan. Now let's zoom in on the red and the blue, the purple. Okay, now you can see the 30
there you
decimal.
go. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. All right. Yeah, I think it's good to have the actual plan in the
Yeah,
on
I
the file
knew
when
it.
we have the meeting, yeah.
It had
So,
been
okay.
submitted.
Okay,
And that little square rectangle behind, that's the roof leader stormwater mitigation. We'll be capturing the first inch of rainwater.
okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
How did, on the revised application, you said you had to comply with a view easement. Can you just briefly explain what that was?
Yeah, so the previous owner of 132 had granted 126 a view lane easement. And if you can, it's the hatched line. So if you look, it says it's that hatched area is the view easement.
The green hatch?
Yeah, it might be. It says view easement in favor of 126 up in the top left.
Okay, the
So
green
that
hatch.
entire
Yep, got
area,
it. Okay,
right, there can't be anything above ground.
okay,
And that extends all the way to the beach.
okay. So you went up to that with no violation?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, got it.
And that was the reason going back to 30.5 instead of 24.9?
That is correct. And if you look at the other dimension, it was 96.9 from the property line. Now it's 97. So actually the newer construction is actually a foot further away from the view line easement.
Okay. So he sounds like he was a good neighbor in trying to satisfy that view easement then.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And you can see the flood zones also are on there. It goes from VE 14 to an AE 12. So we're complying with the AE 12 FEMA coastal construction standards.
Okay.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, so it looks like there's about a 6-foot pullback from the CCR. So with the variance requested, though, you're going vertical 8 feet. Some people could see that. So how? I'm trying to see how this is a reduction. It is a reduction from the CCR, but then you're going vertically, so you're actually increasing your nonconformity.
Well, we're still in compliance for height.
Right, but John, can you correct me if I'm wrong? When you request a variance and you go vertical, is that not increasing the nonconformity?
No,
Not talking about height, I'm talking about,
Oh, I understand. Yep.
no, Rich, the only variance that they're having is the 50 feet from the coastal resource. They, at 30.5 feet, the original building did not even meet the DEEP setback of 25 feet.
okay.
So the new house meets the DEEP 25-foot setback. And our regulations would say that it has to be 50 feet. That's why they're asking for the variance, because they're within 50 feet. But they're more compliant because they're further away from the CCR than they were originally. So, and they complied with the vertical height then,
Oh.
and they comply with the vertical height now.
So this isn't a setback requirement from a neighbor, it's different section.
No.
I'm sorry, I confused that. I apologize.
It's just the CCR.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying that.
Why is it not possible to meet the requirement? Why would that be a hardship?
On the hardship issue, the fact that we have improved things to the extent that we have satisfies the requirement of establishing a hardship. Because we're reducing the nonconformity. It's not, you don't get to the level of impossibility, but you couldn't build this house except the way that we are with all of the other setbacks that are required in the septic system and everything else there is. So they're making it, getting back as far as they can reasonably under these circumstances. And if they have to build a little tiny house, they probably won't build this one, and the town would be left with the other one, which is substantially more nonconforming in terms of FEMA, in terms of setback and everything else. So that there's a certain amount of balancing that gets done in these circumstances. But none of the other zoning requirements are being infringed on at all, none of them.
I'm
And I-
confused. Are you so you're saying it's not possible to build a conforming house that conforms with everything?
Michael, I can add to that. So if you look at the dashed line, if you look, you see there's a 50-foot mark from it says the T there, you see the title, and you see that 50-foot, and it hits that dashed line that runs. So that's the 50-foot setback. If we were to make a house totally complying, we wouldn't have room for septic.
Okay, I see.
It would put even the existing house, if we moved it into that corner, it would violate the health code
Okay.
for
understood.
septic. Yes.
So where is the septic? It's very hard to see on the.
Yeah. So if you look
Where's
at
the septic located or will be located with? this?
that light green
Oh, okay,
is the septic system.
got it.
And that's a brand new septic system, yes?
Correct. That's going to be replaced. That's proposed.
I have no further questions.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions.
All right, let me,
Any more questions by the board?
hold on just a second. Okay. And you do have a letter from, first of all, you have a letter from a neighbor?
We did receive one positive letter from Bruce Topolowski. I mean, it's part of the record. If you want to read it,
Yep.
feel free.
It's there.
It's fairly short.
Yeah,
I don't have it with me. Maria, do you have it?
I have it if you'd like me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
To whom it may concern, please be advised that we are in full support of the Miller application for 132 Kelsey Place, Madison, Connecticut. If you require any further comment or information, please contact us at your earliest convenience. The letter was dated July 30th, signed by Bruce M. Topolowski.
Okay, and then you have a comments, coastal site plan review comments checklist from the Land and Water Resources Division of Connecticut Energy and Environment, right?
Yes, we have that. We have that also.
You guys should be presenting this.
Yep. If you want, I can read the, if you want me to read the,
Wait.
I
We usually
can
do-
summarize it.
We
Okay.
usually do the coastal site plan review after we approve the variance, because then we also have to approve the coastal site plan.
Wait,
I can read the summary and recommendations, or you want to read it to yourself?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Chuck, just go
Oh,
ahead and
okay.
read the summary and recommendations.
Okay.
Let me summarize real quickly. There was a section up above that had a number of on-site, adjacent to site, not applicables, and then there was adverse impacts. There were none listed as adverse impacts. So I think that's important to note. There were a bunch of not applicables and a couple of appears acceptable. So if you want to read the summary, Chuck, go ahead.
Okay, this is based on the application materials and plan sheet provided, the proposal appears to be consistent with all applicable policies and standards of the Connecticut Coastal Management Act. Although the subject dwelling exists in a coastal hazard area, VE elevation 14 and AE elevation 12, the proposal is to rebuild the existing dwelling to be FEMA compliant and raise the elevation of the first floor to elevation plus 14 NAVD 88. Moreover, a subsurface stormwater system is proposed for this site, which will improve stormwater management over existing conditions. We recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission verify all applicable FEMA requirements are met and require the installation and maintenance of adequate sedimentation and erosion controls for the completion of the proposed work.
Okay.
And
that
also on that plan, we do show silt fence and hay bales, I
Yeah.
believe.
but that last for the planning and zoning, that's not us. That's,
Yeah, I just read the whole thing.
yeah, I know.
Oh,
I'm just
okay,
saying that's-
yeah. I got
I'm
carried
just
away.
pointing out that the Planning and Zoning Commission still has their work to do.
Right, that will be part of the building permit, actually.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so that was good. Does anybody have any additional comments?
All right, if nobody has any more
Can I
comments,
one more thing, Bill, I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
A quick
Rich, go ahead.
Rich,
question.
go ahead.
It's just administrative. Since there were two applications and the first one we looked at was not current, but I was able to pull up the more current one, is the old one going to be removed or by John, by your office?
This application has superseded
Okay,
first application.
okay, got it.
So technically,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we can cover that with the motion of what we approve.
okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
keep in mind though, when you close the deliberation, you're going to be voting on two things. And Jason's right, you're going to be voting on the variance first. And you've already heard some of the out of sequence, the coastal site plan review. And then you're going to vote on that second, which would be moot if you didn't grant the variance. So it's
Okay,
always
so
the
it's-
variance, always the variance first, and then the coastal site plan, as Jason pointed out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bill, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All right, I'm just following the procedures here. Comments from anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? I'll go first.
D- Are
Or-
we doing our board deliberations, Bill?
Yeah, we
Well-
have to close the public- we have to close the public portion of the hearing.
Right, if we're done with that, or are you soliciting it from the public? Sorry, Bill, I'm trying to,
No, I'm just following the hearing procedures that I have in front of me here. And they say the next thing is comments from anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application.
Yeah, that's from the public.
Okay, public then. All right.
Mhm.
So there's no public comments.
So I'd like to move that we go into,
Well, hold
go
it,
into
hold
deliberation.
it,
okay?
hold it, Dennis. The next procedure is, are there any public comments from anyone wishing to speak opposing to the application? And all right, and if there are none, further questions by the board? And are there any final comments from the applicant or
No,
the public?
I have none.
Okay. So can I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing and review the application?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, at this point, there can be no more communication with the applicant or public. Be sure only members that were seated may participate in the deliberation and vote. Okay, we are in the deliberation process, so who would like to start? Dennis?
Okay. Yeah, I think the application is, you know, is spot on that this is an improvement to the coastal resources effect, and it's basically compliant with all but our own 50-foot setback, and he's improving that. So so I don't see a problem with it. The state's coastal resources group gave it a good, review. They were happy with it. They thought it was an improvement. So given that, I'm thinking that we have a positive effect here.
Jason?
Generally, I feel positive about this. I think that it is a very restricted lot. When you take into consideration all of the regulations concerning the lot, additionally with the installation of the new septic system, for that to be up to code, that the house kind of has to be that way. If you were to build a smaller house while staying within the property setbacks, I don't know that you could get other than a slightly larger than a tiny house on that lot. I can't drop random models into it. It looks like it's very restrictive. I'm missing some information here, and I wasn't able to find it leading up. Perhaps somebody has an answer as to why the Madison line is different than the state's coastal resource line. I don't think we've seen that previously.
No,
Anyway.
it was new to me too, Jason. I was not aware of that.
I tried to dig a little bit on that, but I couldn't really. I couldn't really do it. Yeah, I'm in favor. I think that it's we borderline on a we're borderline on a what is the word? I'm completely blanking on a word. Anyway, we're borderlining on a legal condition, on a legal hardship. I think because of the size, I think that it would be very difficult to make an argument that you couldn't that you could fit a livable house, on that buildable area with the septic systems. It's in accordance with the plan of conservation and development. right? Because we're getting new septic systems on the shoreline. We're getting FEMA compliant houses built on the shoreline. So it's in accordance with the plan of conservation and development there. We have no other variances. I'm in favor. Sorry.
You made a good point, Jason, that it has, you couldn't make a livable house. If they were to say you got to shoehorn something in there,
Right.
and say I end up with something smaller than what I had to do to begin with, and wouldn't do it at all. So, so we are gaining some advantage here with the stormwater runoff and with the improved setback. So, I don't see an
Yeah,
issue.
we're with, I mean, it's within the state line. If it was over the state line, if Deep had a problem with it, I would be much more concerned.
Yeah.
I would like to get to the bottom of why the Madison line is further away, but that's for another day.
John, did you want to address that?
I certainly can if you want me to.
Oh, please.
If you're asking staff for input on what.
Staff for input, please.
Okay, thank you. Well, and there's two things here. One is the 25-foot setback hasn't anything to do with a single-family residential structure. It has to do with any construction within that 25-foot, a deck, a gazebo, a patio, anything. That's kind of a trigger for DEP to want a coastal site plan review for anything that's within that 25 feet. The 100, what DEP says is that 100-foot, a conforming single-family residential structure is exempt with certain exclusions if it is beyond 100 feet from a coastal resource. Some point back in, I think probably 2000 or 2001 or two, the zoning administrator in Madison changed that and made it more restrictive and incorporated the 50-foot setback. So we can do that. The statute said 100 feet for a conforming single-family dwelling. We made it 50 feet to be more restrictive. So I think I got confused in the beginning. I think it is 217 is our variance, our regulation that says a single-family residential conforming structure must be at least 50 feet. So anything at 50 feet, they would need a variance. And they're inside that 50 feet. So that's what the variance is for. But it's really 50 feet and 100 feet, not 50 feet and 25 feet. 25 feet is any construction. The 100 and the 50 are only a single family residential dwelling that conforms. I don't know if that's cleared it up for you or not. But.
Yeah.
So we have, so the state says that anything within 100 feet of the critical coastal resource needs to be reviewed, right?
That is exempt.
Exempt from what?
Exempt from their review. Exempt from
their review.
Yeah. So if it's
anything that's outside 100 feet.
Yeah, if it's outside 100 feet, they don't want to see it. We said if it's outside, if it's outside of 50 feet, we don't want to see it. But
so we got more, yeah.
So we're more restrictive.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Who else?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So that makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate the genesis for doing better. Yeah, I'm still in favor.
On the whole, I'm in favor as well. I think given all of the circumstances, all of the improved conditions that would be made to the dwelling that's going to be on this property, both for safety and environmental reasons, I'm okay with this. I would be in favor.
Okay.
Rich, how about you?
So I am in favor for a different reason. I don't think, I would suggest, we can talk it out, we don't use lot size as a hardship because theoretically the house could be taken down and reconstructed in the same spot. However, because there is a reduction in the the closeness to the CCR, that is a reduction in nonconformity and a move toward more compliance. So I would see that as the reason to grant a hardship, grant a variance, which I'm in favor of, and mitigating circumstances is what everybody already talked about, the improved septic and the DEP compliance, that kind of stuff. FEMA, I'm sorry, FEMA compliance. So I'm in favor.
Okay.
I just think we ought to phrase it that it's a reduction in conformities, because I don't really see a hardship, but I do see a reduction in nonconformity.
Okay, I
Okay.
agree. That's fine.
I agree, and I'm in favor, and not to go over what you all have said. I'm in total agreement. And Rich, I was going to say that my main reason would be the reduction in the nonconformity, because you either have to have a legal hardship or a reduction in the nonconformity. And that would be my reason to approve the variance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
and
that,
the
I think that would
applicant-
apply to the variance side. John said we have to vote on two things, is it?
Yeah, so
That's-
after we approve the variance, then the coastal site plan comes on the table
Okay,
and
right.
we can discuss that, but there's no, I mean, we can open up, we open up the public hearing again to allow them to discuss the coastal site plan. But I don't think we need to, because they've already discussed. the coastal
Okay.
site plan.
Yeah.
So Jason, you want to make a motion then?
Yeah,
And I was
no,
just going to
great.
add quickly, Bill, like
I'm
what
sorry?
Bill was saying, the applicant didn't claim a legal hardship, but they
Right.
claimed a reduction as
Right.
well. So that
Yeah.
was another reason. But
Yeah.
go for it. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, I
so-
make
oh,
all right,
you
I
go-
make-
Go for it.
I motion to close the deliberation and back to the public hearing to vote. So does anybody want to grant or make a motion to grant the variance?
Yeah, I move to approve the application on the basis that it is a reduction in nonconformities and it's in accordance with the plan of conservation and development.
Can I ask
Although-
you, can I ask you to modify that to say you move that we approve the variance?
Yeah, we approve,
Specifically state the
we
variance.
approve the application, we approve the variance.
Okay, should we read the actual variance request into the motion? Is that?
Yes, we probably should.
So hold on, here we go. No, that's coastal site plan.
But you can read it right off the application.
Yeah. All right, motion to approve the variance to section 2.17 for a variance of 19.6 feet where 50 feet is required. It's a 30.5 feet to the critical coastal resource. On the basis that it is a reduction in nonconformities and it is also in accordance with the Madison Plan of Conservation and Development.
Okay,
Does that sound to everybody?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, the motion passes for the variance.
Okay, now we have to talk about the critical site. The
The coastal site plan.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so we'll reopen the public portion and talk about the site plan. Who would like to start?
Well, Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant, you want me to read the summary again, or are you familiar with it? I'll entertain any questions, I guess is what I'm saying. I think we covered it fairly well during the variance portion.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't, I don't have any problems with the coastal site plan, so if somebody else would like to say something either way, please speak up.
Yeah, I thought we covered it. I didn't realize we were going to go back to a public portion later. That's why I wanted to cover it earlier, so.
All right, so do we have, John, do we have to vote on this also?
Yes. Yeah, I think what you want, you want to add into that motion that whoever's going to make the motion, I would suggest that you mention that it consists, the coastal site plan review application is consistent with the goals and policies of DEEP.
Okay, who would like to make that motion? Jason, you're good at this, so you want to make it? Or anybody else?
I was muted. I motion that we approve the coastal site plan because it is in accordance with DEP regulations and Madison's coastal conservation plan. I think those are the words.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, motion has been approved. And we voted and we notified the clerk of our decision. So I guess, is there any other, oh, we have to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
Thank you very much. I'm going to beg out now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to join Chuck. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes,
The next item on the agenda is that discussion about the board meetings in the future.
oh, that's right.
Discussion regarding board meeting platform for the remainder of 2021.
Okay, my personal feeling is that the Zoom is working right now. We don't know what's going to happen with Delta. I would think that we would, I would think that we would continue with the Zoom until we feel comfortable that the Delta variant is not going to be a problem, or that they've got enough, there's enough vaccines or whatever, that the whole threat of it goes or starts reducing. Right now, it's going the other direction. And I'm perfectly fine with saying, look, we've got a mechanism that's working. It's safe. Let's stick with it.
John, is the,
I would be very reluctant to go back to in-person, so my preference would be Zoom.
John, could I ask if we go back to in-person, is there going to be an option for people who don't want to come in to attend it on video on Zoom, like a hybrid approach?
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about a hybrid. They're talking about a hybrid approach, but it's, you know, if the board feels like they would prefer a hybrid approach, a Zoom approach, or an in-person approach, I think that's what we're looking for this evening.
Okay, yeah,
They haven't made that
vote is-
decision yet. I think that's kind of what they're looking for right now.
So my vote is in person or hybrid. I've from my perspective, I've had enough Zooming, so I think Madison's got like a 90% vaccine
Okay.
rate or something. So I'm not, just personally, I'm not concerned about coming back.
Well, I suppose if we ask for hybrid, that leaves us the option of going either way, right?
Yes, it does.
Well,
That's a
John,
good point.
can I
Yeah, sure.
say
go ahead.
something? So I'm not saying that they're asking you to either pick either or. However, I do know that the hybrid right now is being done with the Board of Selectmen, and it does require an entire like production crew. So if you choose that, we would need to kind of decide that and let somebody know, because they do need someone to operate a Zoom. They need someone to operate a camera from the TV studio, the local cable. They need IT to come on board. So it could be cross-shared for public, for people who are home, for board members who are home. So if we want to do that, we would just have to give some notice because it does require a different cast of characters.
So it sounds like voting for hybrid is going to be a hassle. It sounds like it's going to take a long time anyway.
I guess they are kind of doing it right now with Board of Selectmen and I think Board of Finance, but it does require more people. So we
I'm
would
in
just need
favor.
advance notice. And if you choose that, I don't think we can say we want to go hybrid this month. Well, next month we want to go in person. We have to choose kind of one way and make it that way.
I support what Dennis said. I think that right now, to err in, an abundance of caution, to maintain the status quo that we're currently in, there's no negatives to that to me. So I said everything Dennis said.
I agree with the virtual approach as well. I don't know if anybody has actually participated or watched the hybrid meetings after the fact, but this is a much more clear platform for the viewing audience. You can see what's being presented much more clearly. You can hear what's being presented much more clearly, and you know who's speaking. In the hybrid approach, I've watched both Board of Selectmen meetings and the special meeting on Island Avenue, and it's a lot more difficult to follow along. I also think that this lends itself to better public participation, because sometimes there's people that want to come and they're not able to. So just because of family or time constraints. So I think this is pretty user friendly for our Madison community.
Point.
I would agree. I would vote for just the Zoom meetings. I think we got a good procedure here. I think it's worked well. And if we reviewed it at the end of the year, well, let's see where we are at the end of the year with the variant or with COVID. And if we need to change things then, we certainly can, but.
Right. And another point too, the masks that are currently required in our town buildings. If we're in a meeting situation and we're trying to do a virtual approach while trying to social distance with microphones and a production crew, I think it's going to be even more difficult to hear what we're all saying.
That's good.
Anybody else?
Also, I like my basement.
Just also keep in mind that what are we in August? So we have about maybe 4 months of meetings left. That's if we get applications for those months. We would have to make a decision by the end of the year as to what we're going to be doing in January, because the year's worth of meeting schedules needs to be recorded in the town clerk's office in January, and they need to know how they're going to be held.
Right.
So
the
we
new
will have to
board-
revisit it again and by November.
by
Right.
November.
So the new
Okay.
board will be able to decide that.
That's fair.
Yeah, but to your point, Maria, the number of applications slows down in the off season, so you never know if we'd even have a meeting in November.
We
We'd
may
have to
not
come-
even by November or December, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we might have to get together for just solely the purpose of voting on that.
voting on the new schedule, et cetera.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for bringing that up. That's important.
They have a different looking
So,
board. in
Ned, what do
November
you
anyway.
think? You're on mute.
Who?
buddy.
You're muted, Ned.
Ned, turn the mute off.
Ned? Is Ned with us?
I think
Yeah.
he's working on it.
He's smiling. That's
He's
a
muted.
help.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry, I just could not get on, and I tried calling in. I tried everything. I was about ready to toss the computer, and somehow I made it. You sounded very articulate, everyone. But I agree, we should stay with the Zoom until the end of the year. It's
Okay.
working. I don't think we're denying the public any participation. If It's noticed. If they want to jump on the Zoom, they can watch it. And we really don't have a lot of people unless it's a major problem
Okay.
in our own.
So I think it's good. I
So
think
I
we can
move,
just, can we just declare by consensus that
yes,
that's what it's going to be, or do we need a vote?
unless Rich wants.
Oh,
to-
we need a vote.
Yeah, just
So
vote.
somebody want,
I
So
move we
I
go with
would-
the Zoom.
Second.
yeah, I would vote that we continue on with the Zoom until
Review it in November.
So
Yeah. until we
I
have
make
to
a-
deal with
I
it.
make a motion that we continue with the Zoom for the rest of the year.
I second it.
Okay.
All those
wait,
in
do you guys
favor?
vote? Do you
Aye.
guys wanna
Aye.
call? Guys, hold on.
Aye.
Make it till
Okay.
November because you got an election.
What-
The board may look very different.
It
There's
doesn't
50
matter.
New members, so you don't want to do this to the end of the year. You want to do it till November and then decide November, I would think.
I think what Maria said is that
Yeah.
what we decide tonight
They
will
need
carry
some
through
lead
the
time.
remainder of this calendar year. In
Yeah.
November, the new board can decide how they want to move
Oh,
forward
okay.
with the
In
2022
January.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Maria. That's a good point.
Yep.
So, okay.
Okay, we all voted in
Okay.
favor.
Nope, I did not. I'm
Rich voted-
Bill.
Yeah,
Hi,
Rich,
Rich.
My
Sorry,
understanding, we're going to report this to the Board of Selectmen. My understanding is that this particular board has decided that they would continue with the Zoom meeting until the end of the year. That's
Yes.
what they're
So-
asking us to do.
So what's our mechanism for reporting back to?
I
Board of
tell
Select-
them,
You tell them?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
you guys are all done.
Well, except
Great, John.
Marlene's going to put it in the minutes and then it's done.
I'll take it from here, yeah. Well, we'll let them know tomorrow.
All right,
We have to
We'll
approve
let
last
them know, too.
month.
The way Marlene does the minutes, we'll have them tomorrow.
okay.
You know, I actually did get into the meeting, but I was on as a guest and couldn't make any noise, so
Yeah.
I kept
so you're
fiddling.
making noise now, yeah.
I am,
Okay,
for what it's
So-
worth.
All right.
so next item on the
Move on.
agenda there, Bill.
So the next item is the minutes from the last meeting. Somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Somebody second?
I wasn't here.
Okay, the,
Jennifer seconded.
okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposition? Nope. All
I
right, then I
abstain.
guess,
I
Yes.
abstained.
Yeah, I abstained
Okay,
too. I
Jason
wasn't here.
abstained. Okay,
I was not here.
No, nor was I. Also abstained.
I wasn't here.
you mean we don't have
We
enough
had a meeting though.
You got
people
four.
present
What
to
happens
pass the
now?
minutes?
All the smart people were here.
You got four.
So who was it? It was Jennifer, me, Rich, and Bill? Is that who was here?
Yeah, I think
All right,
so.
so, so we voted yes, so,
Yes.
okay, so we're good.
okay, any other business? If not, does somebody want to make a motion to close the zoning board of appeals hearing
You don't,
tonight?
you don't need a motion, you got a gavel. You say there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. That's
Excuse
how it
me.
works.
I just want to make a comment because this has come up a couple of times. And you're absolutely, you're correct, Dennis, that you don't have to, but Robert's rules, and we like to stick with Robert's rules. In my understanding that procedurally, it's always best to have a motion to close a public hearing and take a vote.
Okay.
In case someone would want to say something in addition to it and just thought of it, at least there's a pause enough for they can do that. But
Okay, oh, yeah,
that's
I'll go with that.
That's according to Robert's rules, and as long as I'm doing this, I sort of like Robert's rules. It keeps it sane. It
Yeah.
keeps, organized.
Okay,
Consistency is good.
Okay, then I'll make a
Okay.
motion, I'll make the motion that we close the meeting, adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None
Thank you,
opposed?
John.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank
Aye.
you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good one.
Okay, see you next month.
All right.
Aye.